What I'm about to say might sound a little controversial. However, it is my belief that pain truly sparks growth and strength. Now, I know that at first thought that can sound really incredible and unbelievable, but stick with me during this video and let me explain myself. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here for a long time following me, I love your support. I love your comments. My name is Nancy Rebecca. I am a registered nurse, but I had a spontaneous out-of-body experience 30 years ago which awakened me to become suddenly sighted. So what this means is I can see your human energy field with my eyes open. That has never gone away. But as a nurse, I use that to my benefit. So let's kind of hop in and talk about this controversial belief that I have that pain can cause a benefit of strength and growth. All right. So this is something I'm always, saying to my students, and this is not new in regards to spiritual teachers and teaching, because we can all really realize if we're sitting on the couch, we're all comfy, cozy. We got our cat or our little dog or our lover with us. We got our curled up in a little blanket. We've got some popcorn and whatever you're drinking, and you're watching like one of your favorite shows. You are totally comfortable. You are not going to make a move. If everything's going wonderfully in your life, why would you want to change anything? Everything is going swimmingly. So you're not going to really make a move. Now, I will say that Spirit's always telling me move or be moved. And so often I will go into meditation and I will ask my Spirit, show me what I'm not willing to see in myself. Show me about my behavior. Show me about something in my life that maybe needs to grow. And I'm just not wanting to do that right now. And so, but I will talk about how like a burr, like if you had a little thorn and you sat down in a chair and you go, ouch, and you would immediately jump up and move and you would remove the pain. And so this is why we say that, pain is going to move us. And in my belief, it's going to move us into our strength and into a movement of growth. So I took this opinion of mine and I decided to do some clairvoyant readings on it. So I asked Spirit, and right away, my Spirit showed me images of the people in Ukraine rising up to meet the enemy, to challenge the enemy, joining together, moving outside of their own pain to help and be in service to others. And so it was like, wow, they're so strong. And I was like, we're not giving up, and they're pulling together. And I was shown enduring strength of Holocaust survivors and the strength that they drew from to be determined to not just survive, but to thrive. So Spirit showing me these examples of individuals who took an enormous amount of physical, emotional, mental pain and turned it into growth and strength. Now, often when we feel pain, what I was shown in the energy field, we will go to that place of something terrible is happening. Something terrible is happening. We retract from the pain. We numb the pain by ignoring it or drugging it. It is rare that we believe that our pain is here to teach us something, to teach us anything. Now, I know that for those of you who've been developing spiritually for a long time, you've grown into this, you've noticed this about yourself, you know those higher spiritual perspectives of everything's a lesson, we're learning from things. But when we've got some pretty big, horrific things that are happening, like, imagine, during World War II, or imagine, the wars that are happening in the world right now. If you were to imagine, how would you face that? What would you do? We often think, I think I would just curl up in a ball and would want to die, but that's not the general human response. There's something that we pull up from deep inside of us that that kind of empowers up. Our shoulders go back, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to go fighting in the street, but I most certainly can go make some sandwiches, or I can go make some soup. I can bring people in who are suffering, and it's like, here, you need some time to take a nap. Here's a safe place for you to sleep. So we do rise up, and the very first thing that humans do is they move into service. So this has always blown my mind, where you can have a lot of pain and suffering, but when there's a big community pain and suffering, then we all kind of move out of our own way to help uplift everyone. So, so if you have a tooth, you feel pain, you retract from the pain, and so I thought that I would do a little reading, a little psychic reading on what makes the difference between those who have suffered the atrocities of war and those who are sitting at home with a toothache or maybe even a sprained ankle. All right. So let's start off with the toothache. Everybody can relate to the toothache. I asked to see an average human being anywhere in the world that has a toothache type pain. All right. What I was shown was there's a contraction of the energy field, a pulling in. It's like, oh my God, my teeth hurt so bad. So you can imagine your aura kind of shrinks in. It becomes small because you're trying to minimize the pain with your thoughts. Next, there's a drop down into the lower 3 chakras. So, and I am going to say, for the person who always gets annoyed that I don't pronounce chakra right, I'm always getting annoyed. It's chakra. They're telling me it's chakra. But anyway, I'm going to go back to saying chakra. You know what I mean. All right. Then you drop down into the lower 3 chakras. So chakra number 1 is located between the hips. It's a little energy center there filled with information on how to survive. Chakra number 2 is emotions, sexual energy, creative energy, male, female energy. Chakra number 3 is your power center, self-esteem center, boundary center, illuminating your soul's light center. But those are the physical chakras down below. So you have this toothache, and then you want to crawl in, and then you move down into the body, because pain, it is a body thing, right? If you were in spirit, you wouldn't have pain, because they don't have pain in the spirit world. So it's like, all right, you're all hunkered in, you're all shrunk into yourself. Because those are the physical chakras, we wonder if we're going to survive this tooth pain. I don't know if I can survive this, Mom. So we're crying from the tooth pain. We can move, and then we move into the tooth area that's hurting, and that exacerbates the toothache. So now I want you to imagine you've got this little tooth that's hurting right here, and you start thinking about that tooth, and you're trying to minimize the pain, and you're focused on the tooth, focused on the tooth, focused on how much the tooth hurts. Can you imagine your entire aura moving into that one tooth? Oh my gosh, the pain just can go through the roof. So you need to move out of the tooth so that the ache can calm down. So then I observed an unresolved toothache. So let's say it's not resolved. You don't have a dentist. You can't afford a dentist, you don't have insurance, you're hoping if you can just wait long enough, it's going to go away. But let's say that it's an abscess, it's unbearable pain to where the individual goes into a state of surrender. This is where an enormous light will come through. It'll drop down through the top of your head. It overtakes the pain. It can block the pain, and it provides solutions to you right away on how you can resolve the pain. Well, let me just... Okay, I just want to make sure that I wrote this down because it's really important. So now what Spirit showed me was like a sprained ankle. So you think you've got a sprained ankle. It might have a crack in the bone. And you'll go through, if it just has a crack or a sprain, you're going to go through the same phases where you contract, you move down into the lower chakras. If not treated, the crack becomes more, it breaks further, causing excruciating pain. Or there's a severe break in the beginning, like you've been in a car accident, you've smashed your pelvis, This might cause you to pass out. To where you go energetically is total surrender. You go back into that state of total surrender. When that happens, the brain blocks the pain and sends pain-relieving substances to that part of the body. This is where I see high levels of receptors being activated by a golden beam of light. So when I was diagnosed in 2020, like during COVID, I think came up in March, and by May I was being diagnosed with breast cancer, going into surgery and chemo and radiation. When I started the chemotherapy, and this is why I say it's not for sissies, because wow. So when I went through my first dose of chemotherapy, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and my entire nervous system was on fire. And it was so painful, and it was spasming, and my whole body was contracting. There was a moment where I thought, I can't take one more minute of this pain. And I remember in my mind, I kind of yelled up to God, said, God, please help me. It was just this begging. There was this sense of surrender. It's like giving that pain up to God. And within a few moments, the pain completely went away, and I completely fell asleep, and I was able to sleep the rest of the night. Now, I will say about that, it did get better. I was able to talk to my doctor, and they were able to help me with the dosing and things like that. And so it did get better. So I just will say that. But the other thing that's interesting was that there was someone I barely knew, but she had written me the next day, and she said, I apologize. I don't normally do a healing unless someone asks me directly, but I heard you cry out for help. And she lived in Canada. Like, it would take 20 hours to drive to her house. She heard my cry for help, and she got up in the middle of the night and offered a healing. So anyway, I found that so incredible at the same time. All right, so here, let me talk about victims of war, because then I was curious, and I'm like, all right, you're showing me about pain. You're showing me how it can exacerbate and how we can contract and pull in and not be connected. We disassociate. So victims of war, I was shown energetically. At first, there's a disassociative response. I'm shown that the spirit of someone who's a victim of war literally joins the heavenly beings to block the realities of the trauma. So when I was shown, like during the Holocaust, it's like all these golden spirits, like all the spirit went up into these different dimensions, and they kind of hung out up there with all these golden beings, so that they couldn't be in touch with the reality of what was happening to them at the physical level. And then I was shown, then a light comes down into the body, creating a light body for the spirit to be able to inhabit it again. So remember, I talk about growth and I talk about strength. So it's different than a toothache. It is like an unwavering support from spirit to assist each individual to endure what would normally be unbearable to experience and unbearable to witness. Suddenly, every cell becomes a pure beacon of light. Then I'm shown, for every person going through this, they are flanked by 10 to 20 angels to help them cope through it. And then I was shown that these angels remain with that individual for the rest of their life. So like in Ukraine or other wars that are happening between, Israel and Palestine, like all around the world, there's different things happening. So these angels remain with them for the rest of their lives. However, I'm told that they are given a full choice. So Holocaust survivors were given a full choice. You're welcome to cross over. This is unbearable for anybody. You do not have to stay in this. You had this option. But if they choose to remain for the rest of their life, they view life as precious, totally precious. So, in what happens is, because we've all witnessed people who have gone through the atrocities of war, and it's like, how can they ever laugh again? How can they ever smile again? How can they ever want to thrive? How can they don't harbor all this hatred and this rage and this resentment, um, and fearing of being victimized again? Like, what happened there? And so that's what Spirit showed me, was that initially they go up, there was spirit, and then when they come down, there's this golden beam of light that fills their whole body, creates a light body. There are 10 to 20 angels with them the entire time that are assisting them. And that once the war is over, or once they've moved out of this, if they choose to move forward to survive and thrive in life, they view life as precious. Precious. So let me just ask any of you who are listening, when was the last time you viewed life as precious? And I will have to tell you, that was kind of a wake-up call for me when Spirit said that. It's like they view life as precious. They treat life as precious. And everything that they do after that, there's this enormous gratitude and appreciation for the preciousness of life. And I thought, wow, I can have an appreciation for life, but I don't know that I have deeply thought of it as such a precious life. Now, I will say, when I had my out-of-body experience, I was under an enormous amount of stress. I did call out to God and say, God, why do people have to die? Because that's what triggered me. I had several family deaths in a row. And then God showed me by an out-of-body experience that we don't die. Our physical body dies, but our spiritual body lives on. And that was a concept I had never thought about before. And so once I had that separation, that disassociation, once I came back and I brought the light in with me, it has never left me since. So when I go back to the title of this talk, that might be a little controversial, but pain truly sparks growth and strength. I would love to read your comments about, have you ever experienced a moment where you had pain and it helped you to become stronger and more resilient? So yeah, I'm just curious about that. Do you agree or do you disagree? And all answers are acceptable. So thank you so much for tuning in and contemplating your own energy field. And next time you have that toothache or sprained ankle, you might just want to reach for the light while you are soothing your pain at the same time. All right, everyone, take care. I'd love to read your comments, and I'll see you on the next Intuitive Insight.